And welcome back to another episode of the UMass Sports Insider. It is postseason time for sports here in Amherst. So we're going to get to it and talk about all the things that are going on with Massachusetts athletics. Welcome back to the Mullen Center, everybody. Jay Burnham alongside Nathan Strauss. And Nathan, we'll get to the highlights here in a second, but it's just been a tremendous year for UMass women's basketball.
Yeah, it's been a championship season for UMass women's basketball. They have the best conference record in program history, and they raise another banner at the end of it, a wonderful way to cap off an excellent season.
Let's get to some of the highlights. It was senior day here last weekend. The Minute Women finished off a historic year of success, closing the regular season as Atlantic 10 co-champions as they took down George Washington 84-61. It was an emotional senior day with Sam Breen recording her 16th double-double of the season. 23 points and 10 rebounds for Breen. The Minute Women recorded a program record 14 conference wins during the regular season and were the #1 seed in the A-10 tournament.
And when they got down to Wilmington, Delaware, where they won the tournament last year, UMass came out on top in their opening round quarterfinal matchup against George Mason before blowing out Richmond in the semifinals. That was an 80-60 victory. They went into Championship Sunday for a date with the St. Louis Billikens, and despite being down by multiple points, Sid Taylor hit a remarkable 3 at the buzzer to send it to overtime, where the Minute Women would eventually fall to the champions, the St. Louis Billikens. They'll await their postseason fate, Jay, next week. We'll learn more about that on Sunday.
I'll tell you what, that Sidney Taylor shot is going to be one that lives in UMass lore for years to come.
Yeah, truly just one of the most remarkable plays that you'll see, a one shining moment kind of shot from the captain, Sid Taylor.
Well, for the men's basketball team, they also closed out the regular season with a win, taking down St. Bonaventure on senior day, 71-60. Forward Matt Cross returned from injury after missing 3 games, and Rasul Diggins, R.J. Luis, and Wildens Levesque all scored in double figures in the victory. First win for UMass over the Bonnies since 2015, a span of 10 tries, and the Minutemen finished the regular season at 15-15. We'll get an update from their conference tournament down in Brooklyn a little bit later on in the show.
On the ice, the UMass men's hockey team went up to Alfond Arena in Orono, Maine, and closed out the regular season with a sweep at the Maine Black Bears for the first time since 2010. They got good goals from Cal Kafuk and from Scott Morrow in this season-closing series. They set up a postseason date with Boston College.
To lacrosse at Garber Field, the Gorillas got off to a good start, 2-0 to begin the season for head coach Greg Cannella. Wins over Army and Lowell, but hit a snag with back-to-back games against BU and a ranked Yale team. Through the first 4 games of the year, senior Gabriel Prozik has scored 9 goals, moving him into a tie for 7th all-time on the program goals scored list with Will Manny, as the Minutemen are on the road this weekend but return next weekend to Garber against number 8 Rutgers.
And on the women's lacrosse side of things, they have gotten off to an excellent start. They're 5-1 with some really good home wins, and this last weekend they went down to Stores and took down UConn 16-12 with 4 goals from senior Alex Finn. They've also got an excellent leadership from Audra Tassoni and Charlotte Wilmot, who has 12 goals and 6 assists on the year. We'll have more from their coaching staff and some of their captains later on in this show.
We will have Coffee with a Coach with head coach Janet Drummond coming up in just a little bit. But first, let's take a deeper dive into that historic run for the UMass Minute Women on the hard court. It was a winning streak of epic proportions, one that this program and this university hasn't seen in quite some time.
UMass women's basketball has once again reached new heights, refusing to lose for 12 consecutive Atlantic 10 games, a streak that ranged from January 7th all the way to February 22nd, and there were many milestones achieved during it. Let's take a look. The record-breaking streak began on January 7th in a 76-59 win over Loyola Chicago. 4 Minute Women scored in double figures, while Destiny Philoxy had 3 assists, pushing her career total across the 600 assist threshold, the first ever in program history to do so. The Minute Women made it 3 straight on January 18th with a 66-57 win on the road at Fordham. Shortly before the game, Sam Breen was added to the Becky Hammond Mid-Major Player of the Year watch list, but it was Bernia Mayo who stole the show, cashing in on 18 points in the win to lead the way. Mayo scored in double figures in 10 of the 12 games during the streak, including a career-high 29 points against George Mason. It would be 4 straight dubs with a 79-60 win at Dayton on January 22nd. A nearly perfect 11 of 12 shooting and 30 points from Sydney Taylor got the job done, and the 11th double-double of the year for Sam Breen marked a milestone for her, reaching an impressive 1,000 career rebounds. January 26, 2023 made it 5 straight wins and marked Tori Verdi's 200th game in Amherst in front of nearly 4,000 screaming fans against VCU. Win number 6 was career game number 124 for Sam Breen, placing her second all-time in games played, right behind Destiny Philoxy in program history. A win over Richmond on February 1st made it 7 straight in the Play for K breast cancer awareness game. That marked the 100th career start for Destiny Philoxy. She recognized that with a 10-5 performance, and Sam Breen moved into second all-time in career rebounds, hauling in 9 boards to go along with her 21 points. February 4th marked consecutive win number 8, a 66-42 drubbing over LaSalle, a pair of double-doubles, 53rd of the career for Sam Breen, and the first for Sydney Taylor, won the day for the Minutewomen and kept the good times rolling. 4 days later, a 1-point win versus Fordham sent the streak to 9 and placed Destiny Philoxy into 3rd all-time on the UMass steals list. Bernaya Mayo had 3 steals of her own, pushing her into 4th place all-time in the same category.
The Minutewomen have won 9 in a row!
Wins over Mason, Rhode Island, and Davidson planted the flag for the battle-tested group and gave the Minutewomen their second consecutive 20-plus win season. It also vaulted them into 1st place in the Atlantic 10. Sadly, the streak came to an end at 12 consecutive, following an embattled 77-75 defeat at St. Louis on February 22nd. Fittingly, another milestone was reached in that contest as Sam Breen surpassed Sue Peters as the all-time leading scorer in program history.
When you almost die and come back, you can't look at the world the same way.
A lifetime of mysterious health issues led to the discovery of a tumor in Kalia's heart.
The tumor was on my wall over here, and it was going like this over my valve. So I wasn't getting proper oxygenated blood to my body for probably my whole life.
Every beat of her heart was putting her life in danger. Watch her inspiring story at baystatehealth.org/mystory.
You live once, life is short. That's a huge eye-opener.
Baystate Health, advancing care, enhancing lives.
We know you're busier than ever before, caring for your children, your parents, or a loved one. And don't forget about yourself. You deserve a health plan that guides you along the way and helps you make the decisions that matter most. Health New England has options designed to meet the needs of everyone in your life. We'll be here for you every step of the way. Get a health plan that grows with you. Health New England, where you matter.
And we continue on the UMass Sports Insider from the Mullen Center with our Coffee with a Coach presented by Duncan. As you mentioned, we're going to be talking about women's lacrosse on this episode. We've got women's lacrosse coach Jana Drummond in her first season at the helm. Coach, thanks for being here today. How you doing?
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm doing great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good start to the year.
Very good start to the year.
5-1 coming off a big win against UConn. Tell us about that game and how it unfolded.
Yeah, so I think with UConn, it's always a battle, especially both being those big universities, state schools, local regions to each other. So, you know, we knew that it was going to be back and forth a little bit. They always perform their best, and they're a tough, competitive team. So we went out there, we started strong, had a little bit of a dip where they kind of climbed back, but then the second half, we just were focused on play-by-play and executed and did a great job of just coming together. And, you know, every person on the team contributed, whether they were on the sideline, on the field, watching the film, doing all of that, so it was really helpful and just awesome to see.
Now you're in your first year as head coach of the program, but obviously not your first year with the program itself. Talk to us a little bit about what that jump has been like this year, or if it's even been a jump for you.
I think, it's been very, a little bit more simpler being that transition coming from where I was into this role. So it's been really great. I know the personnel that I have to, like just the business office, the compliance, all of those are like the simple things that I don't have to learn new, and everyone's been so supportive. So it feels so great just to be in this athletic department that has my back, and also the team has been incredible. They're so supportive. They just listen to what you're asking of them and they buy in, and it's been really great.
We're going to talk with one of your team captains here on the show in a little bit, but I wanted to get your perspective as to what the leadership is for this team, and maybe how some of the captains have helped you kind of get along in your first year.
Absolutely. I think, they've made that transition very easy. They are very reliable, very trusting, and not just on the field, but also off the field. I know that they're really taking care of what they need to do, and, the team looks up to them. They're in this position because they're supported by their coaches and their and the team itself. So it's really great to see them just shine and also just naturally lead, because it's just in who they are as people.
You have made, and this team has made, Garber Field into something of a fortress over the last couple of years. What is it about this place that gives you such a good home field advantage?
That I think it's just the pride that not only like the university has, but just the town has, and just the alumni that everywhere you go, like you'll be in an airport in, like, I'll go home for Detroit, Michigan, and everyone's like, go UMass. And you're just like, where did that come from? It's just one of those universities that everyone just knows and is a very strong, supportive athletic department. So I think that's where we come home. We have that pride. We get to be on that home field that's surrounded by the campus, in the middle of campus there. So it's just that great feel and pride that you have being on here for UMass.
You've got conference play coming up.
Yes.
Starting against Richmond.
Yep.
What are the expectations? And the expectations here for your program have been set pretty high, for the past decade or so. What are the expectations? How do you set those for your team going into conference play?
I think for us, the expectation is just to do what we need to do. Trying to put too much of that legacy from the past or too much of the future of like winning those A10s has to happen. Like taking that pressure off and just knowing that we're just going out there, performing what we need to do, what we've been practicing in practice, and keeping to our identity is the biggest thing as we enter that conference play. We've shown up these past few games we've learned. We've had some losses that have really bounced us back as a program and as a team of what we need to work on. So I think that's where, as we enter this conference, it's not necessarily about what we're trying to prove. It's just about us doing what we need to do, and that's just stay a hardworking team and kind of come together as a team unity.
I know you've talked with Frank Garahan and some of the other former coaches here at UMass, and frankly, UMass lacrosse on both the men's and women's side has been lucky to have very few coaches over their history. How do you interact with the people who have been in your job previously and who have helped this program through the years?
Yeah, they're so supportive. I get texts from Angela McMahon-Sapone, just like, congratulations on the win. Frank texts every single game, before and after kind of thing. So you just have that natural base of the alumni of the athletic department that's just so supportive of your team. So it makes it very easy coming to work, and I just love that aspect of it.
Last one for you here quickly, Coach. We're going to throw a curveball at you. Who's the funniest player on the team?
Catherine Kuzo.
Yeah?
Yeah.
What makes her funny?
She just comes out of nowhere when you're just like, wait, what just happened? And it's just her smiling or just like keeping things light and interactive with the team. And she just is such a shy person, so when she has that humor, it comes out of the
contrasted pretty well.
Yes.
Great. Good luck this weekend. Good luck the rest of the way, Coach. We appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you.
All right, that is Coach Drummond on our Coffee with a Coach. We'll come back with more on the UMass Sports Insider.
When you need to dig, lift, move, cut, or just about anything else, then dial up the Rental Source staffed with equipment and construction experts. They'll help you get the right machine for the job and make sure it's delivered when and where you need it. With locations across New England and the newest and most reliable inventory, Milton Rents is your local source.
What I'm most proud of the lottery is, the more revenue we generate, the more we give back to our communities.
Faxon Park is our memorial park dedicated to veterans. It's a source of pride in this town, and the lottery's helped us maintain that.
There's a great sense of pride being able to work out of this firehouse, that aid from the lottery. It's very important for us.
The ultimate winners are the 351 cities or towns.
The Mass State Lottery, 50 years of supporting communities.
50 years of winning.
Get great seats, safer, simpler, and smarter with TicketSmarter. Choose great seats from over 125,000 live events, all backed with a TicketSmarter 100% ticket guarantee. Get your tickets smarter at ticketsmarter.com.
Welcome back to the UMass Sports Insider. I'm Nathan Strauss, joined by UMass women's lacrosse captain Amy Moreau. Amy, thank you so much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
It seems like it's been a great start to the season so far. You're coming off a huge win over UConn this weekend. What are the vibes right now in the locker room?
Vibes are high. I mean, vibes in the locker room are always high, but especially after a big win like that, a lot of high emotions. Everyone's super happy to be there.
Now, take me through your UMass career, because you're now in your 5th year. You've played in almost every game. You've started in almost every game since you set foot on campus here. What has your career trajectory been like? How have you grown in that time?
Well, I've played a lot of different positions. I came in as an attacker and then quickly switched to a midi. And then towards the beginning of my freshman year, the help of Jana and Ange, I went to defense and started playing defense, and then played defense for a few years, tried midi here and there, and then last year fully switched over to midi, and here I am.
And not just playing at different positions, but doing so at an all-conference standard. Is that kind of versatility something that you pride yourself on?
Yeah, I mean, I just came here. I come from a small town, so when I just came here, I was like, I just want to do whatever I can to get on the field, and just listening to my coaches and trying to put that all together and just make that happen.
I know you have a lot of pride for your town of Schuylerville, New York. What was it like growing up there, and how was the lacrosse scene there growing up?
I tell everyone I absolutely loved growing up there. Like, being from a small town is just truly something special. Like, the sense of community that everyone had. Like, I know just about everyone there. I still go home and I still help out with my team, and like just going back there and like seeing the girls, they know who I am, and it's just so much fun being there. And the coaches, like, it's just so individual there. Like, they care about you so much. They really just help you like develop as like an athlete as a whole, and not just a lacrosse player, because like lacrosse isn't really that big there, but being an athlete is.
And of course, you had a chance to go back to upstate New York a few years after you left it, when you were part of the Team USA player pool up in Lake Placid, and I know you got a chance to play against, Team Canada and the Haudenosaunee select team. What was that experience like with the national team?
That was extremely surreal. Just playing with girls at the first tryout, where I grew up like looking up to like Kayla Trainer, Taylor Cummings, like all those girls I grew up watching and like idolizing, and then being able to be on the same field and playing defense on them was absolutely amazing. And then just being able to go back home, and I had so many people go up to Lake Placid to watch me play. It was amazing. We
see now, I think, the development of women's lacrosse and lacrosse in general, with professional leagues springing up across men's and women's. There's the Athletes Unlimited space as well. When you look at your future, I know you're someone who has been a really good student off the field as well. Where do you see yourself going?
I don't know. I mean, I always say I never want to stop playing, but sometimes it happens. But we'll see. I'm just going to try to play. I'm focusing on this season right now and wanting to win that A10 championship and go further. And then we'll just see what happens.
You've got a really great group of captains, obviously, and this team in the last couple of years has thrived on senior and grad student leadership. When you're looking at the younger players in the room, how do you mentor them on the day-to-day?
I think it's just really emphasizing the point that like everyone is important on this team. Like, everyone has a role, whether you're playing, you're not playing, you're on scout, you're not, like everyone is so important to this team, and like everyone's personalities are equally as important as their play. And I think just like really kind of harboring that mentality and that family atmosphere is just super important.
And last one for you, I know pregame mixes are so important. You get one pregame song to fire up your team before taking the field at Garber Field. What would that song be?
The team?
Or fire yourself up.
I don't know about the team, but I always listen to Legend by the Score when I'm walking back into the field after shooting around.
Well, that's a classic.
Yeah.
Amy, thank you so much for joining us. Best of luck as you open up A10 play this Saturday against Richmond.
Thank you.
Now let's take a look at the top hockey plays of this 2022-2023 season. Taking a look at the top plays of the 2022-23 hockey season, starting off with a packed house series against the University of Denver. UMass swept the #1 team in the country courtesy of this Luke Pavicic save. Next up, take a look at this filthy Scott Morrow goal on the power play. He danced, he dangled, and he sniped it home. Just a week later, Taylor McCarr would have his shining moment, notching a game-winning overtime goal against Merrimack. As UMass went to Belfast to play in the Friendship 4, they picked up a victory over UMass Lowell, courtesy of some freshman contributions. Check out the filthy handles here from Michael Cameron as he goes top shelf, setting up this epic celebration in the locker room. UMass had a chance to play at Frozen Fenway, and they got on the board, courtesy again from Michael Cameron. Ryan Ufko, en route to scoring the first hat trick by a defenseman in over a decade, sniped this one home from the blue line. It's Scott Morrow again who features here, courtesy of a nearly impossible goal. UMass went up to Maine on the last weekend of the season and got 2 goals in the first period from Cal Kafuk, and check out that snipe.
Back with you one final time on the UMass Sports Insider. Hope to see you out at Garber as we take a look at what's coming up here on campus. You mentioned the Minute Women in action on Saturday at 12 against Richmond. And then next week at 1 o'clock, the men will take over on a top-ranked Rutgers team. Well, we got some sad news on the show as we close this out. This is Nathan Strauss's last broadcast with us here on the TV show. He is leaving to be the voice of the Augusta Green Jackets, the single-A affiliate of the Atlanta Braves. Congratulations, my friend.
Thanks, Jay. And I couldn't have done it without your help. And it's been a real pleasure this year being on this UMass Sports Insider show. And I'm looking forward to seeing what the future holds. I'll always have UMass close to my heart.
We're not going to say goodbye in a sense because we got a feeling you're probably going to be back at some point.
I'm never going to be too far away from Amherst, Jay. You know that as someone who left and came back. Everyone needs to get out and experience the world, but Amherst is home, so looking forward to it.
We are in your debt, my friend, for all the dedication you've had for our programs here. Really appreciative, and I know the fans certainly will be following Augusta this year down in Georgia for some minor league baseball. So I'm going to step aside, and I'm going to let you introduce the last piece of this show, okay? Step right up, buddy.
Wow, my shining moment. Well, thank you so much, Jay. As we wrap up this episode of the UMass Sports Insider, we take you one final time down courtside at the Barclays Center, where Jay Burnham and Adam Frenier are standing by at the Atlantic 10 tournament.
All right, Nate, thanks so much. We are here at the Barclays Center for round one of the Atlantic 10 tournament. Jay Burnham alongside Adam Frenier. Adam, not the result that Massachusetts was looking for today. Their season comes to an end after losing to Richmond 71-38. Early start time here, 11:30 a.m. Just didn't feel like UMass was up for the challenge.
Yeah, they just never got things going offensively today. Struggled shooting the ball from outside, and Richmond's Tyler Burton had a monster game and really put the Spiders on his back to advance them to the next round.
He's the pride of Uxbridge, Massachusetts. Meanwhile, R.J. Luis for the Minutemen, not forgotten about in terms of what he was able to do this season for Massachusetts, and he was rewarded by the Atlantic 10 being named as the member of the all-rookie team. So a lot of building blocks that are in place here for head coach Frank Martin.
And it starts with R.J. Luis, who came on strong during conference play with his scoring ability, able to overcome that injury and came back and finished the season strong as well. I can't wait to see what a full offseason will do for him, and he should be set for a big sophomore year next year.
Massachusetts has their season come to an end, 15-16 on the year, but 15-15 in the regular season. So you might forget that they were so good early on in this year before all the injuries.
Yeah, you have to go back to the Myrtle Beach Invitational. That's one thing that certainly sticks out in your mind, where they were able to win that tournament and win an in-season tournament for the first time in a long time. So that certainly was a high in this schedule or in the season. But the Minutemen, some work to do in the offseason, some work to do in the recruiting trail as well. But I'm sure Frank Barton's going to take this loss and let it motivate him going forward into this offseason.
Massachusetts has their season come to an end in round one of the A10 tournament. The automatic qualifier will be awarded on Sunday here in Brooklyn. Big thanks to Nathan Strauss for all of his work over the years. And of course, partner, big thanks to you as well for being a part of our broadcast.
Always a pleasure, my friend.
Until next time on the UMass Sports Insider, we'll see you.